Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War weapon of Duskbringer. So Duskbringer is essentially the same equivalent of Season 1's Enraged Kurandara, in the sense that it's one of those very last reward kind of things that you can end up getting that are specifically in the Soul Forge. So for Season 1 we had Enraged Kurandara, and for this season we have Duskbringer. In order to be able to craft this thing, you do require the 3 weapons that came in earlier this season. This will be available at a later time for anyone playing free to play. Obviously, this is a very similar weapon to that of Dawnbringer. Dawnbringer is actually stronger than it as well. It has a lower mana cost, and even though it does slightly less damage, is a lot more consistent with its barrier. So overall, if you have to choose between Duskbringer and Dawnbringer, Dawnbringer is actually the better choice. However, we will be going over Duskbringer in this video. The main difference with it is, of course, it has the exact inverse colors. So instead of being yellow, red, blue, it is the coloration of brown, purple, and green. It does have a 5 higher mana cost. However, it does have a slightly higher base damage to make up for that damage cost. It also has a different unique capability as far as the fact that it is focused on deathmarking the entire opposing team, compared to whereas Dawnbringer has the 4 times barrier. It also has different boosting, like it's based on purple instead of yellow, and also gains the extra magic based on brown instead of red. So there's a few tweaks here and there. So basically we're just going to be going over a bunch of teams that can end up using this weapon. So let's go and start getting into that right now and start from the top. So as far as our very first weapon here, it looks like we are up against a little bit of cleanse, which could be a little bit annoying. However, we have stun, so hopefully it won't be as annoying. So obviously stun and or curse are really good options to be using with Duskbringer, as they are the main things that will not only allow you to be able to go and put these effects onto the enemy, the deathmark, but it will also make it so they can't cleanse. So like right here where it has cleanse on extra turn, if we just put a stun on it, well, we don't really need to worry about it as much anymore. So I'll go for our explosion here, trying to get full mana. Apothecary, we can get rid of that freeze on if we could just get the last of our mana, which we could probably just do with this explode right here. So that's exactly what we're going to do, just get a nice explode, let him do whatever. Hopefully get a really beefy Apothecary here, and we should be able to roll from there. So we end up getting that. That gives us both our 2 casts. Duskbringer, I do not believe, is enough damage right now. So what we can actually do is cascade this skull and try killing it out that way. So if we do this and move that down, we get our extra turn over there, and then we can go for a nice beefy Duskbringer. I think I might go for a skull here just to poke him a little bit though. Though we do have a reduction on this first slot, so we won't take as much damage. You know, I am actually going to go for skull though. I do want to pressure it a little bit, so we'll take that. We'll take the brown. That gives us our full cast again. However, we will go get our Duskbringer in. That is the weapon that we're using after all. But yeah, the little bit higher mana cost makes it a little bit harder to spam. As you saw there, I believe we did just get a deathmark kill, so it does occasionally do that. It's very exceedingly inconsistent, and one of the main reasons why it's generally not going to be used too often, as the inconsistency of this weapon is exceedingly high. But putting some stun with it, putting some curse with it can make it work a little bit better, but that still doesn't really help with its inconsistency, other than curse kind of making it last a little bit longer. But anyways, onto our next team here. We have a kind of like Fairy Fire build where we can kind of go an AoE into another AoE. We're basically going to fill up Thrall very quickly. Hey, it's Duskbringer versus Dawnbringer. Haha. Though I'm pretty sure we'll win because we have player advantage. But yeah, there's Dawnbringer. As you can see, the already gigantic mana difference. Though with half mana start, it does only need 13 mana, whereas Duskbringer needs 10. So in that regard, it's not as big of a difference. But still 3 whole mana. And then every subsequent cast requiring 5 more mana. But a main reason for using Queen Titania here, of course, is Fairy Fire. Still one of the best Fairy Fire options in the entire game. So we can end up doing this, getting it down. Throw our Deathmarks down. We have Enchant as well whenever we do an extra turn. So we can kind of just do that. Kind of just delay them a bit. Hope that Deathmark just wipes out their entire team and be good to go. Oops, we are frozen on that. Though we are not frozen on green, so we can go for that. Still going to be a little bit mana short. We don't have 13 plus red, so we can't auto extra turn. However, we can synergize the full AoE into another full AoE, so we'll do that. Nothing dies to Deathmark, so we'll just do this. Hopefully get an extra turn, just kill it out with Duskbringer. And then he's dead. That's all we really need to do. So that's kind of just like a double AoE option. You kind of run somewhat similar with Dawnbringer as well, as far as running something that hits all enemies, running something else that hits all enemies, and kind of synergizing them together in order to get some damage down. And now for the low-cost team. Obviously, it is a little bit unlikely that you would have this as a low-cost team, as you'd most likely go for Dawnbringer first, which means you'd have to do all the souls required for Dawnbringer, and then all the souls required to go do this. So I'm pretty sure most people aren't like early game running this, but if you are, here's a team that uses a very low rarity. It's a ultra rare, another ultra rare, a kingdom epic that you get for free, and then of course the the weapon itself of Duskbringer. But anyways, let's get into this battle. So here we're going to be using the curse method. Actually, the first of these 3 teams to use the curse method. Of course, this will disable all stats effects. It also makes it so stats effects have a lower chance of being cleansed naturally, going from 5, 10, 15, 20, so on and so forth, instead of 10, 20, 30, 40. It makes it divisible, or, makes it go by 5s instead of by 10s. So he's going to get a pretty beefy caster. I'm not actually sure which option I want to go for. Let's see. We have cleanse here too. We have a little bit of dispel too if we really needed it. Though normally the dispel for curse would be enough. Kind of just using it for mana accumulation. So right here, we explode a gem. And for every single purple gem we end up exploding with it, we end up getting a curse. Meaning we can basically triple curse out of this. So we'll do this right over here, get our triple curse. It hits absolutely everything except the one I needed it to hit. Good job. Because curse actually would have gotten rid of his barrier there. So that's really unfortunate. We could actually lose this one, though. This is the earlier game team. Obviously, we're using really low rarity stuff. So we could try recursing. Not sure if it's really worth it, though. So we're probably just going to go for a ton of mana. We'll let him skull us here. We would normally have 50% reduction, but he did end up disabling it. I still kind of want to go for the explosion, though. We really need the mana. That also give us our skull reduction back. So he's going to enrage that skull. So I am actually going to go for a skull here just so he doesn't end up doing that. Get a little poke on him. And now let's start getting lucky. Let's see if we can actually get these things to work. So here we're going to go with a deathmark and use its main mechanic to ideally try to win. Right here we're going to go for 4 purples, which will guarantee make sure that every single thing on his team gets cursed. So now we'll have that to make the death marks go a little bit longer. We'll now go for our mana accumulation and basically just keep spamming this whenever we can to refresh it. Not too quickly, otherwise you keep refreshing the 1-turn delay. But as you saw right there, we got a double kill off a death mark, which of course is one of the main premises that this has compared to a Dawnbringer, is that you're just hoping you get absurdly lucky, and they're both still cursed, so that makes it so they have a lower chance of removing it. We can go and lower their stats a little bit, kind of chip them down, another death mark kill, and basically the whole premise is we just keep lowering down their stats with Azura and keep ideally getting death mark kills. And there we go. So we were able to kill 3 out of 4 troops with deathmark, and then just kind of cleaned up the other one. Obviously, not the most consistent of methods. Deathmark's only 10% chance per turn. The consistency on that is exceedingly bad, whereas something like Dawnbringer, you know exactly what it's going to do. The next instance of damage that you take, you're going to end up protecting against. But anyways, as far as Duskbringer, I still feel like Dawnbringer is extremely better. Like, there's almost no point in getting Duskbringer in comparison. But if you truly want to go and kind of run a Deathmark-related build, it is maybe worth considering. There is Creeping Death, though, of course, too, so if you kind of want to run a Deathmark kind of AoE build, you can kind of already have it, which is one of the things I find kind of weird about Duskbringer 2, is there's already a weapon that partially does what Duskbringer does, whereas there isn't really a proper weapon that does what Dawnbringer does. So overall, verdict is still just stick with Dawnbringer. There is really no point in getting this weapon, but if you want to for completionist sake, it's not completely useless. It's pretty good with Archmages with +3 purple. The colors that it has are pretty good colors too, like purple and brown normally get a lot of excess mana on many teams, like Truffle and Beatrix get a lot of excess brown and green, so that kind of works out pretty good. And there's so many ways to gain additional purple now off of just the half mana star into +3, but a lot of troops that also end up creating purple, so it has a lot of advantages in that regard. But to justify a 5 higher mana cost for it just does not seem worth it. If it was the same mana cost as Dawnbringer, it would be very competitive against it. Like if they both had the same damage, same mana cost, same everything, just with the small differences of color, the death mark instead of barrier and all that. But the 5 higher mana cost is the main thing I feel, mostly keeping it back. But anyways, that's the new Duskbringer weapon. You still have 3 days to go get those components off of the task system, off the campaign, if you still want to go get them. They are on the paid side, unfortunately. However, you will at some point into the future be able to go and get them for just from the Soulforge. Exactly when? Who knows? Because I still don't think we got the other one cycled from last season either. So who knows when these things are going to appear, but they will eventually. But if you still want to go get them now, there are still 3 days left, today, tomorrow, and of course Sunday, if you want to finish up all the season stuff. And up to 800 is where you get those. Though of course, if you're already going that far, you might as well go all the way to the Mythic, which we covered the other day as far as teams for it. But anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up for this video. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Also, Arena event. We do have that going on. I'll be streaming that every single night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we do every single night. So we'll be kind of poking at that. Obviously, not as interesting as some of the other events, but hey, at least we get to try a bunch of different teams. You try some really weird teams in that game mode compared to most of the other ones, because you have to build like such weird things in order to actually get the win. But we'll be doing that every single night for the rest of this week until until season 2 is ended. But anyways, guys, we'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Any other questions, feel free to leave it below. Goodbye, everyone.